You're listening to 4CRB's interviews and talkback series.
Welcome to the studio. Welcome to the microphone, Supreme Court Judge David Ashton Lewis.
Well, thank you, Colin. I look forward to spending this 25 minutes with you and with the listeners out there.
Discovering the fundamentals of democracy.
Yes, yeah.
So
but if I just add, one of the problems with democracy today is no one is being taught it.
I agree.
No one is being taught it, and this will come out in today's discussion.
So last week we discussed Aristotle and his views and contribution to the fundamentals of democracy. If you'd like to review that discussion, it is online at 4crb.com. Just look up the judge on the webpage and you will find it there. So we're continuing that discussion, and we were going to start with a summary, but you can review that discussion
Well, his
last
key
week.
points, we can say, and please do go to last week's show, his key points were truth and virtue. That a society cannot function if it's not truthful. Now, that's just not individuals not lying. It's truth about life and about human nature. And, of course, one of the main points of that is to be virtuous.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we concluded our discussion with epistemology.
Ah, yes.
Which is the...
ladies and gentlemen, just get ready for a Bolevsky joke now. I can see it in his eyes. It's coming.
Well, it's the study of human interaction with alcohol.
Did I not warn you? Did I not?
No, okay, all right.
Colin knows exactly
Let's be serious now.
But where would we be without humour?
Oh, we love a bit of humour. We won't go into that. All right.
Yeah.
It's the branch of philosophy concerned with nature, origin, and limits of human knowledge, often referred to as the theory of knowledge. It investigates what it means to know something, how we acquire knowledge, and how we justify our beliefs. Now, that's very, very important. It's one of our core principles.
And how many of you listening today were taught anything like this?
So
I wasn't. I had to study philosophy.
Correct.
So
Correct.
And
I wasn't taught it.
no, I know. Because we live in the age of science, and that's why people with your skills, engineering and those degrees, are now so important, and they are. But if you're not infused with the concept of truth, of virtue, of knowledge, how can you make up a parliament? Yet we have politicians today who are not infused with truth. It's their truths, and you could have 160-odd people with different truths. There's no objective. Everything is just individual truth. And so
Correct.
These are the difficulties by not infusing a society with these ancient Greek ideas that were the basis of our society. Please go on.
So let's look at those four pillars,
Yes.
those four fundamentals of epistemology.
Yeah.
So what is knowledge? And this is really, really interesting as we dive into it, exploring the relationship between truth, belief and justification.
Yes.
Now let's have a look at this one, David. Obviously, being a legal mind, truth is very fundamental to the law to a point.
Yes.
But
whose truth?
let's examine this, right? Because we've had many examples. We were talking off air before about one of our wonderful volunteers who will sit there and thump his fist on the table and say, but it's the truth.
Yes. And when you've asked him to articulate to you the truth, he simply couldn't. But yet he bases his whole belief system and behaviour, and he's a good person, but he can't define it. And that's what this is all about.
Again, and in the law we have the term affidavit, and one of the things that I learnt a long time ago that, and I don't think it's the etymology of the word, but it is your truth. So,
well, no. Can I correct you there? It's you telling the objective truth, like what you saw, what you heard, who was there. That when someone is saying, I wasn't even there, someone else saying, yes, I saw him. So it's not their truth. It simply is what epistemology would set out. It's just simply the factual truth. Because once you start speaking about my truth as opposed to yours, you start to get into the realm of abstract.
Well, let's talk about it from the point of view of witnesses to a crime.
Yes.
Or two people who are having a conversation.
Yes.
There will be your point of view, there will be my point of view, and often it's referred to when I was teaching my son that there will be that person's truth, there will be your truth, and there will be the real truth in the middle, because their point of view or their view of the argument, the situation, what we're actually discussing may be different to yours.
Well, see, here's the problem with the word truth certainly in the last 10, 15 years being misused. That isn't your truth, and what I'm saying is not mine. What you're saying is your belief or your opinion.
And that's what I was aiming for.
Oh, right.
Yes.
And so me the same. The truth, if we're sticking to it in this philosophical Greek sense, the truth is the actual fact. And it's not determined by my perception of it or yours. And here's the challenge in philosophy or the philosophical mind. So that truth is that X shot Y.
Yes.
And what one observer will, he won't even just say, look, X just was cross with Y and paid him back. No, he didn't.
That's a belief.
It's
or a justification to a point. So again, that's the three things that we're examining here: truth, belief, and justification.
Well, let's stay with the truth is abstract and it's outside of your thinking or my thinking. What you do is you apply your reasoning to it, and you will either obscure it or you will change it, but nothing can change the fact that X shot Y.
Correct.
So then there comes interpretation. So I think if we can settle on the Aristotelian concept of truth, it's the factual truth. And we're finding these debates today in the questions of gender.
Yes.
You know, and I won't go into, this is not a show to go into that, but there is belief that a woman is something more than a biological gonadal, that is, with the hormones and the genes of a female. Oh, no, not today now. For many, a man can identify as a woman and even undergo surgical sex change, but it cannot make that man anything more than a male dressed like a woman, talking like a woman. And so what we've got now is governments saying, look, we accept that, but therefore that person should be able to be treated in society as a woman and partake in women's sports and go into women's only areas. Well, the answer to that, any factual, not abstract basis is, but he or she may be a very pretty human being, but is not a woman. And that's the battle we're facing now.
And it's interesting, whether we're talking politics, whether we're talking this discussion around gender.
Yes.
I think famously I remember seeing Donald Trump stand up there as he won the election, and he said, plastic straws are back and there are only two genders. I'm pretty sure he said. Well, and I thought to myself, do you know what, from a fundamental point of view, and when you're talking about documentation and government documentation and all of the things that go with identifying who and what you are legally and as a citizen, that needs to be defined.
Well, I'm glad to see.
And that's defined at birth.
Yes, it's biological fact now that I see that the Olympics have come out and said now transgender women who are biologically males will not be allowed to compete. Now that's a first step in common sense, but something else needs to happen. All right, we must accept that in our humanity there are some men who feel they were born in the wrong body. There are some women who feel they were born in the wrong body, and it's not for us to belittle it, to insult it. It's to say, so where do we go as a civilized community to recognise this? Don't call it a third gender, because it's not a third gender, but we must recognise that a man who feels that he should be a woman should be accommodated.
Look, I think that there could be a completely separate definition
I think
around
so,
that. And
yes.
I think that then carries no legal weight. It carries nothing other than putting you as part of a group.
Well, rights need to be respected. I knew when I was 24, I knew 4 absolutely stunningly beautiful women. They weren't women. They were men appearing in the famous Les Girls. Now, yet they lived as women, they dressed as women, and they had every right to be respected and fundamentally arranged that they could live in society. But of course, this is 50-odd years ago, 52, they were just beaten up on the streets. They had to have security.
Aside from that, they shouldn't have been, and society has evolved to the point where there's acceptance. It's been decriminalised because it was a criminal act in the 80s.
Well, homosexuality was, but a man, a man could not appear in women's dress.
Yes.
You're right. Yeah.
All right. So the second pillar is how do we acquire it? And that we're talking about knowledge, and that's evaluating the sources of knowledge, such as reason, rationalism, sensory experience, empiricism, testimony, and intuition.
Let's focus on sensory experience and empiricism. Sensory experience is, well, I've seen it. You know, I saw X shoot Y. So that is factual, and it is the truth. Doesn't matter what everyone else says, but X's truth was different. He was defending himself because he thought Y was going to kill him. So it's really self-defense. No, it's not. It's murder. And so our sensory experience is the main vehicle by which we can determine the truth. What is the truth? For instance, you are a 6 foot, very unattractive, ugly, overweight man.
Thank you for that, David. That's very kind of you to say.
I'm a 5'7" little bombshell. No, you are all of that and a decent man, and that can be observed as I've known you. So that becomes fact for me, not necessarily truth. The truth is whatever Colin Bolevsky is.
So this is the bit that I look at today as well as I look at in the past. So let's just go before the internet, because we do need to examine it after that. Once upon a time, you could pick up a book and an encyclopedia and go, what is written in here has been qualified, it has been measured, it has been tested, and this
by
is
a number of
This is the truth as we see the world today.
Yes.
And a number of other books. You could pick up a historical text written by someone else. Now, you've got to understand that is a point of view. This is someone's view of history. But again, it is part of written testimony, for want of a better term. Religion aside, because realistically we're talking about 2,000-year-old observations or storytelling, and it's very difficult to qualify and quantify that is exactly how it occurred, because we've had it rewritten and rewritten and rewritten and rewritten and rewritten.
Reconfirmed, confirmed. Yep.
And then we fast forward to the internet, where you can almost write anything you damn well please without qualifying what you're writing. You can stand up in a white coat and
Social
say,
media does
say I'm a professor of philosophy, or I'm a
Yeah.
professor of medical science, and you know what, these drugs are harmful. And we've diluted exactly what we're talking here. We actually now have to go a separate level down now and qualify what we're reading or what we're viewing.
Well, what we're doing is we're elevating opinion above fact, above truth.
Thank you.
So look, there's over 7 billion people on this planet, and all of them will have an opinion, whether they are Hottentots on the Serengeti Plain, or whether they are walking the streets of London, New York and Chicago. They'll all have an opinion. But we've now elevated opinion, and through social media, to being valid and to being the truth. And the truth got now changed. That opinion is my truth.
Yes.
Rather than objective fact that can't be. Look, how many people do you know would debate this? Well, 12 hours of light followed by 12 hours of darkness, sun rising in the morning. No, that isn't the case. My opinion of that is we've all been fooled over millennia. It's an illusion. And what we're doing now is starting to listen to that type of response rather than saying, please, this is objective fact. The sun goes down in the evening. We have a period of no sun we call night, and then we have a day the next day. There are still very strong arguments for the Flat Earth Society.
I was going to raise the Flat Earth Society. Yeah. They're my favourite.
Oh, yes, I know. So here's the difficulty. When a society like ours becomes over emphasis on individuals' rights and thinking, that's good, but not entertaining 20 different versions of something and saying, well, that's the fact.
Correct.
And there's not 20 versions of day and night, there's one.
Correct.
And as you would say, and I agree with you, there's not 20 versions of a man and a woman. There are just two, male and female.
All right, so we'll move on to the third fundamental, which is what are the limits? Asking if there are things we can never know or prove. Now, this one's interesting from a scientific point of view because there are things here that are correlative truths. Now, I'm going to use the term electricity for a start because I remember this was the very first time I understood the word theory, and it was explained to me that we can't see it. We can't prove it, but what happens with the way electricity flows through a cable and energizes that light, and we flick this switch and we stop the electrons flowing through the cable and that light turns off. We can't see it.
No.
This is a theory that fits the facts that we see.
Well,
therefore, we don't know if it's something a little bit different than what we're observing.
We have an end result that's been matched to theoretical talk, and people accept it because you can't say, no, it's not electricity that causes that light to go on, it's philopsis.
That's right.
What's philopsis?
Well, I've got to explain that to you. That's a new theory that we've come up with.
And so that is right. Now, one of the things that we will never know in this plane, we can't prove the existence of God.
Sure.
And this is a classic example. And so God exists by faith in people.
Correct. And it's interesting because I remember at one point I was part of a uni discussion. And again, I think we would have talked about this example before. We were talking about faith. We were talking about religion. And you've got your atheists. You've got people who truly believe. And one of the classic examples when you're talking to I cannot believe in a greater God. And you've got those people of faith saying, absolutely. Well, the example here is if you ask anyone, whether they are faithful or whether they don't believe.
Yes.
Did you love your parents?
Oh, yes.
Now, universally, the answer will probably be yes.
Yes.
But the next question is, prove it.
Yes.
And it's faith.
And then this question, and what is love?
Sure.
We use a word and to explain certain human behaviour and certain human conditions, but what is it? Look, it's like the question that in modern philosophy, the mind-body question, is there a soul? And does every human have a soul? Now, there are those who say yes, of course. Now, I'm sitting here in a room with you and I'm looking at Colin Bolevsky. Now, if Colin Bolevsky is just this body I can see, then obviously, well, that can't last forever. The cells and everything, it's going to die. And then this body is going to be either cremated or put into the ground. Now, the question is, but who is Colin Bolevsky? What is he? Now, the way I can only know who Colin Bolevsky is by you interacting through your body, showing me that you're a humorous man, or you're a morose man, or you're a kind man, or you're a hard man. Now, hardness, kindness, moroseness is abstract.
Yes.
And it has to use this body to let me know what Colin Bolevsky is.
To demonstrate it.
Because if I could inject you with a paralysing drug and sit you in a chair in a room, let people in and say, have a look here. Yeah, who is it? Well, it's a man called Colin Bolevsky, and he's got this and that. He's now 50-something.
Yes, 55.
All right. And yet people would say, well, is he a happy man? Is he a hard man? Because he's just sitting there, paralysed. Well, then I inject you with another serum that allows you to stand up, big broad smile, meet people. Ah, that's Colin. No, it's not. It is his body manifesting what is inside, the Colinness of Colin. And that's one of the most difficult questions. Now, for a person of faith, because they will accept, well, Colin is not just this body is the vehicle by which his soul expresses. But the soul is endless. It doesn't die. It was made by God, they will say, and at the right time with his mother and his father, that his soul was injected into that fertilised ovum. And then it was born, it grew, and now we know Colin Bolevsky. And people will say he's a good man, he's all this. But when your body dies, where does Colin go?
That's right.
And the atheist will say, well, he's dead. But then you're saying, so Colin is purely his body and nothing else. And most people can't say yes to that one.
We've got one more pillar,
right,
and we're going to have to be quick.
Yes.
How do we defeat skepticism? So addressing the philosophical stance that genuine knowledge is unattainable.
Well, I think there's an element of truth in that. Genuine knowledge is not obtainable in this world with our minds that are prone to bias or saying, no, it isn't true, like the Flat Earth Society. There's so much science that says, no, it's not flat. But there are very educated, sensible people who say it is. So pure knowledge or genuine will never achieve in the human form. So for the person of faith, you're lucky because you can look forward to, if my faith is in fact true, I will know, what did Jesus say in that day? All things shall be made manifest unto all mankind. And it's hard to imagine, you mean I'll have the knowledge of everything? And the answer to that is, if you're a person of faith, yes. Because you're not limited now by a human brain. You're not limited by the time and space continuum. What you are is you're endless. You're with God, who is endless. And you are a soul that was put into the fertilized egg in 1969, or for me, 1940. or June of 1949, and I was born 9 months later. And they're hard concepts. But this is what these men, and we'll discuss further, this is what Aristotle and particularly Plato were grappling with.
The foundations of democracy. Well,
Yeah.
David Ashton Lewis, we've had a very zesty little discussion this
Yeah.
morning. We've run out of time. Next week we'll be discussing Plato, I believe.
I think we do Plato because Aristotle was Plato's student. So, and Plato's interesting, yes, and probably we will need to do 2 sessions. Plato's knowledge is vast, and his writing, well, it's highly influential.
David Ashton Lewis, thank you for your time this morning.
Oh, Colin, you're welcome, and I hope the listeners enjoyed this morning.
You've been listening to 4CRB's interviews and talkback series. Support local online content and become a financial supporter today at 4CRB.com.